It's a little easier than what it is.
Yeah, you were right. I'm so happy. Yeah, I got it. That's all right. Yeah. What we're gonna do Never had. Okay. The only thing I was doing social media wise was next door.
Oh, yeah, that's one year. This time of year, you get out right. Everybody else,
Yeah. We have a great agenda, and I want to say thank you to everybody that's come out to provide us some information that we really need. And first, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and I need somebody to. Okay. All right. And before we get started, I'm going to go over quickly some meeting etiquette. Is that because we have, if you're called on, if you want to speak, raise your hand on the screen, and you will get called on. And once you've been called on and you've had your few minutes to speak, please wait until everybody that's raised their hand has had their opportunity, because it's not a one-on-one conversation. It's an all-inclusive conversation. So let's say Gina raised her hand, I'll call on her, and then whoever's raised their hand will go around, and then if she has something else to say, we'll go back to her. That's just us being respectful of each other. Okay. And so first, we're going to start off with Gus Jones. He's from the Birmingham Public Library, and he's going to give us information. And please pick up the brochures on the table. There's a lot of good information back there.
Good evening. My name is Gus Jones, and I serve in the fiction department here at Central. And I would like to tell you about some of the programs we have coming up here at the library. This Thursday, April 20th, from 10 until 2, we will have a panel discussion entitled Alcohol Free is the Way to Be. On Saturday, April 22nd, from 10 to 11, we will have the program Preserving Your Family Papers and Photographs. On Monday, April 24th, from 5:30 to 6:30, we will have the next installment in our series, 12 Months to Being Your Own CEO, and the April theme is Get Your Money Right. On Tuesday, April 25th, that will be the first day of our BPL Friends Foundation book sale. That will take place Tuesday through Thursday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. Also on Tuesday, we will have from 12 to 1, we will have SCORE, Simple Steps to Starting Your Business. On Thursday, April 27th, from 1 until 2, we will have Good Soul Youth Open Mic. On Thursday, May 4th, from 12 until 1, we will have the program Let's Talk About Medicare, and that will take place on our BPL Facebook page. On Friday, May 5th, from 6:30 until 8:30 p.m., we will have our Bards and Brews Poetry Slam. On Monday, May 8th, from 5:30 to 6:30, we will have our May installment in the series 12 Months to Being Your Own CEO. And the May theme is Graduate Your Business Tool. And last but not least, on Saturday, May 13th at Avondale Park, we will have our summer reading kickoff event, and that will take place from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. There are flyers about several other programs on the table behind you. And I also wanted to point out we have two very large display screens here on the first floor. Whenever you're in the library, those will revolve and give you information about the different programs that we have coming up. And you can always find information about our programs on our website, cobpl.org. Thank you and have a great evening.
This moment, Loretta's going to share this with us. And if y'all don't know Loretta, she's the proud mother of the twin judges here in the city. And I know that if I don't let her speak, I might get arrested or something because of that.
Good afternoon, everyone. I forgot to give this flyer to Gus to announce about another program here at the library, and that will be taking place on April the 27th at 1 p.m. We will be having our International Jazz. This is a free program that will be held right here in the library. We will have food trucks on the parking lot, and we will have music by Rory and Stewart and Glenn Wilson. Please pick up your flyer back at the table there. Like I say, this is a free program. We will be celebrating the International Jazz Day on April the 27th at 1 p.m. Please come out and celebrate with us. You will have an awesome time. We had a great time on last year, and we're expecting a greater time this year. Thank you, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you.
Do we have anybody here from ALDOT like to speak? All right, Birmingham Public Works. So excited to have this gentleman here with us. I'm going to introduce himself, and also I had gotten an email about some tree replacement and that stuff, and he's going to go over that with us. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Randall Smith. I'm the urban forester for the city of Birmingham. And I was talking to Mr. Patterson about some beautification that we need to do down on 24th Street between 24th and 25th, right, Mr. Patterson?
Yeah.
On First Avenue North. It's about 7 or 8 tree wells that need some that we need to address. And so I told him that I come up and speak about some trees that's approved for the city of Birmingham. Now, Zelkovia came up. Now, several years ago, we planted a lot of black gum here in downtown area. I think we planted about 60 or 70 black gum. And they all seem to be doing pretty good. I haven't had to remove any. So so I'd like to just talk to you a little bit about that and just see what we can do to address that concern. Now, in the nursery, we don't have any larger trees. Mr. Patterson asked about some 2-inch caliber trees, which got a better survival rate, because that's what we used a couple of years ago, like I said, with the black gum. And they seem to be doing pretty well. So so that's kind of where I am. I'm just opening the floor. If anybody got any questions, any concerns about public works, yes, sir. So we need to plug a tree in there also. So we, like I said, we got about 7 down on between First Avenue between 24th and 25th. Okay, so that'll be about 8 or 9. So maybe about 10, we can plug all those. Yes, sir.
And then also on Morris Avenue, they did a tree a couple of years ago in front of 2112 Morris.
2112 Morris. Okay. Yes, sir. Ma'am. I'm sorry. Okay.
If we put together a list, once this is so if we have, like, Bob, would you volunteer, like, we have a list
Sure.
to give to you for the trees? Sure. Instead of, 'cause almost everybody has trees that are missing.
Right.
So I'm gonna put you, like, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Let me
Bob,
ask you,
Okay.
and I don't know if there's an answer to this or not, but is there budget available for trees, or would this be a fundraising effort? I know I'm on the agenda because you had suggested that CCNA helped back years ago. But I don't know what the current funding situation. Our building, our HOA is interested in providing some funds. Of course, we can't plant trees all over the city.
Right.
But,
Well, like I said, I do not, the city don't have a budget right now for that. Personally, because this is growing season and everything is going toward mulch and flowers and right. So yes, it'll be
if we come up with the trees, they do plant.
it'll be the same.
and the reason I suggested the Zelkova is because I found some in a nursery, and they recommend spring planting rather than fall planting, which is what a lot of trees recommend. So
yeah, the black gum, it was kind of later on in the season when we planted those. Now we're coming into the hot season, and that'd be another concern is the maintenance. We've got to we don't know what the summer's gonna be like, so we.
Does the city have gators available or to put on the trees or anything?
Not really. I got 1 or 2 at the office, but I don't have enough to do what we're gonna do. So like I said, once you get the list together, and then you send me all the addresses, then we can discuss, getting a plan and
Yeah, anybody that knows of a missing tree or whatever in the central city, if you just see me, I'll give you my email address, or I'll jot it down tonight.
Since y'all got the email from CCNA, send it to me and I'll pull it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, man. Thank you. Okay.
I had the firemen up next, and they got called out again. I'm beginning to think we might be a bad omen for them. I don't know about that. Okay, Birmingham Police Department. You're not gonna run out on us either, are you?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sergeant Benjamin Poe. I'm over here at the North Precinct. Basically, we're here last time that I came, talked about the street racing, things of that nature. We're working diligently to reduce that. The issue that the police department is the stop sticks. I'm not clear what those are. So basically, a license and the stopping of the street racing in a faster setting that's safe for law enforcement. Not utilizing them in this area. I'm not sure who has set up the bumper system. Things of that nature that has worked out very well. Kind of push them in the lower end of the city, like 600 block of per block a second, or things of that nature. But I just kind of want to open the floor up for address some concerns. May have the answer, may not, may have to follow back up with you guys. So, here I am. A noise ordinance? Can you be more specific on what's going on? Not do that. I'm not going to do that. There is a noise ordinance. It's 50 feet from it. It's one of those So it's pretty loud.
It's there, it's obnoxious. And that's why I'm bringing this up, because it's obnoxious.
And this is very consistent. It's one of those things, if they're stationary in a vehicle. It's a- I think you have to actually observe it happening. So that- Just like misdemeanors have to happen in the presence of all. City ordinance, misdemeanor action.
One more thing, it's a little stimulus. People walking for a fire. I'm from the wall.
Yes.
Somebody's.
As far as law enforcement side, in the event that we see it there, or you see it happening, you call us right now. We will immediately. I mean, if it's blocking, it's just like parking stop or anything like that, if it's blocking or obstruction, they get ticketed into.
That's true on 25th too. There's one lane going in each direction that's no longer there. I don't know if they pulled them up or they just.
Again, that doesn't come out of our funding on that side. I'm not sure who's actually doing that.
They know about it.
They know about it.
They do.
Yeah, and I'll just mention too that on 23rd, some of the bumpers that were pulled up, it left the bolt in the ground. And so as we like drove slowly through the intersection, you would see there was a bolt sticking up like this. But if you drove over, it was definitely.
On 23rd and what?
It was 23rd and 1st. Now it's on now, so I assume somebody ran over it. But
Either gone or-
it was sticking up to the.
I got one more question. So is that phone number that I should call for the police? 328-9311.
That's not non-emergency, if it's not a,
That's
you know,
the
like
one.
a direct emergency.
Anybody else got any questions? I have one question. We didn't ask. The shooting incident, that all been taken care of?
Yes, that was so that was an isolated incident, the individual victim, slash suspect, he was targeted. It was, like I said, it's just an isolated incident. That individual has, his history is pretty extensive. So it just got, I can't give any details on that, but it's just one of those things. Unfortunately, he was in an area that is highly populated, and it's just an isolated incident to that. They were specifically.
So there's a tent with a city about the 100 block of 18th Street up under the railroad trestle growing every day. They actually got a little tent set up.
Where is that?
You know where the new development is, where they're putting the movie theater and all that? It's actually on that same side, so the 18th Street, I guess that's the 100 block. Is that right?
The 18th Street Viaduct on the Powell's steam plant side of the street.
It kind of forces, like today I was at the park and so, and some passed out on the other side, so it kind of forces, unless you want to walk through it and see all the drugs, it kind of forces everybody into the road. You can't walk where you're supposed to walk.
So if they're underneath any state property, that is not actually
It is under the railroads. I don't know if they do state. I don't have any idea, but it's not.
The growing homeless population has kind of been an issue for a while here. You know, doing everything we can with the resources that are provided to us. Unfortunately, it's very scarce. You know, a lot of cities that I've seen here recently, what they're doing is basically utilizing propaganda to send them down here, like, hey, this is a great place, things of that nature, the paper, the sticking, these individuals are showing up in droves. So, as a law enforcement perspective of it, you know, we can only do so much, you know, between coming in contact with them and, you know, if they're breaking the law, things of that nature. But as far as supplementing where they're supposed to be at,
Well, no, but they can't set up camp, right? I mean, on the sidewalk. I mean, I can't go 50 on 20th Street, can I?
correct,
So you sit out there and do drugs, so
that's correct.
move them along. I mean, as long as they keep moving, that's fine, but you know, every day you go by, there's another one. Like, and it looks, they got one side blocked, so.
Just want to make sure I have this correct. It's the one on 18th Street.
Yes, sir.
How steam runs out.
Correct. Yes, I do.
All right.
Just one more thing is that, when you see, y'all arrested 3 people, I think, 3 people last for the Broadway games on.
Yeah, that was
21st, so I thought that was
like
great.
23rd and 3rd, 23rd and 2nd. Unfortunately, the clubs right there, it brings unwanted individuals and attention to that area. It's not always an isolated incident, which is it's an influx of vehicles and influx of traffic, which then creates a crime of opportunity. And unfortunately, individuals, citizens that live in that immediate area that also targeted. There's just so many vehicles. There's so much traffic there. We didn't make an arrest. We arrested 3 different individuals. Can't say that they're related to everybody's UVVs and car burglars and things of that nature. However, we did make arrests.
Right, because I just realized this, I saw this on one of the papers, is that if you have your building as a camera, we can actually link it up.
Yeah, so there's a flyer going around. I'm not sure if our yeah. So it's not that government or law enforcement is trying to impede on anybody's privacy or anything like that. It's just basically, hey, you give us access, and if there's a crime that occurred, that we can, you know, use sort of follow-up techniques or, you know, apprehension, identity, things of that nature. So, we're going in and reviewing people's security footage and things of that nature. Not extreme overreach or oversight or anything like that.
Take a copy of that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice.
Thank you.
Okay, yay, the firemen came back, so. Birmingham Fire Department. How you doing? Thank you, I'm sorry, let's go.
Good evening, how's everybody doing? All right. My name is Derek Burns, firefighter Station 1 downtown. And I just want to encourage y'all, when you're down 911, make sure the address is correct as best as possible. We have some new people that just been hired on that dispatch center, and they really don't know the city as much as we like. Also, I like to pass along the hospitals now these days are very, very busy. It's unfortunate. But we will come and take you to the hospital. Any questions?
So Sunday night, 3 o'clock in the morning, fire trucks come. Y'all really need to have the sound of all the fire stations. I was in another city a couple of weeks ago, and they come up to the floor, they just go, womp, womp, womp. That wakes up everybody down.
I understand. It gets on our nerves too sometimes. Late at night. Because we're trying to wake up at 3 in the morning. But it's, we do that because for our protection. Just in case someone's hits us, we can always say, well, we had our sirens blast. We had our lights on. The person didn't see or hear for whatever distraction that was going on inside their vehicle. It's kind of like insurance. You know, it covers us. And even when we come to an intersection, we're still supposed to drive with do or die. Even though we may have a green light, people still hit us at green lights. It happens. So my name's Lieutenant Chase Russell, I'm with Station 1, to help go along with the question about the sirens. If you notice down here downtown, there's a lot of blind intersections, what we call tall buildings where we really can't see around the corner. So I think street racing has been an issue here. You know, there are people out on the streets at night driving at 3 o'clock in the morning. Trust me, we don't want to be at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's our job. We're more than willing to do that. However, we have to take the necessary precautions for us to let people know that we are coming to that intersection, whether we have a red light or a green light. That's part of it. His job as a driver is to make sure that we get there to the scene as safe as possible and as safe as possible for you. So we don't want to wake you up, but unfortunately, that's the nature of our job, is to get there safely and efficiently. That's great. Smoke detectors are available. Also, blood pressure.
Last time we talked about the lockbox.
Yes.
So if anybody has any questions, we can call you and find out the information. Do we order them and then y'all can be put on and say,
So at Knox Box, you will have to call fire investigations, and they will come out. I think yes, you will have to order the Knox Box, and they will come out and tell you a good place to have it installed.
And in case y'all don't know, that's in case somebody were to, in your building, they couldn't get them awake, they needed a wellness check, middle of the night, you got some catastrophe going in, instead of breaking everything down, they have access to get into the people that's identified. It's secure.
Yes, it's secure. The only people that have a key to that Knox box is us, and that stays on the apparatus. So it's not something we have on our keychain, it stays on the apparatus, and if we need to get inside using that box. It can go.
Ours
Yes,
is on the corner of the buildings.
It's a key to your.
It's a metal box, like a little safe that has, like ours has all the keys to all the units inside of our building that we're willing to put one in there.
It's important though, before you order one, you need to call ahead so you know which fire station you're assigned to. Because if you order it wrong, if you go on the website, you'll see as you order it wrong, it's on you, and you just out that money. So I think y'all might have different keys possibly.
Yeah, so the keys are all the same.
Okay.
Every station in the city has the same exact key that we did.
Okay, so I called a few years ago and they said make sure you get it right. And so I called and used the number they gave me, whatever, to put in there.
Any more questions? Yes. Knox, K-N-O-X.
You should. You don't need to talk to your HOA management.
Yes. And I'll put the information in our minutes when we send it out. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate them so much. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move the Greater Birmingham Humane Society up to speak. Allison. Like Cornelius, and I know you got the best audience here. Almost everybody here has pups. So, and let you talk about some issues that we might, as part of the downtowners and wherever it is in our central city, is for us to, there's issues, like I was telling her, there's sometimes stray dogs over there going to Pepper's place, there's some at the cemetery, and then issues with animals that they get in and how we can help them. So I appreciate you coming.
Thanks for having me. How are y'all doing? And can the people online can hear it, you would know if they couldn't, right? I just want to make sure. I'm Allison Black Cornelius. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Greater Birmingham Humane Society. It's nice to see everybody. I'll just give you a quick little pieces of information and then I'll let you guys ask questions. I've been to several neighborhood association meetings. It feels like, I know I've probably only got about 90 left, but GBHS, if you did not know it, has the animal care and control contract for Jefferson County. And so as such, we run the impoundment facility, which you guys are familiar with. It's down at the end of the airport in Woodlawn. And then what y'all would think of as the old Lom Avenue doesn't exist anymore. The Adoption and Placement Center is in the city of Birmingham, but a lot of people erroneously think it's in the city of Homewood because it's right off West Oxmoor, behind the National Guard, right where Lakeshore and West Oxmoor meet. We're kind of up there in this little area, and that's the place where you go to adopt dogs or cats. That's also the place where we run our transports out of. It used to be where we ran our disaster response units out of there, but we now have a really big warehouse. I feel like we're just like pointing of a whole lot of stuff now, but we have a huge warehouse over off West Park Drive, and that now houses our disaster pallets, all of our disaster response units, our disaster response vehicles. We are one of the largest disaster response units in the Southeast for the federal government and for Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and the state of Florida. We go in on a pre-disaster evac. Like if there's a hurricane coming, we'll go in, get the dogs in a shelter that are adoptable out so that it empties that shelter out so that the employees can then go home to their families, get ready for the storm. And then after the storm comes through, they can go back to that shelter. It's now empty, and any displaced animals from the storm have a kennel to go into. So a lot of people mistakenly think that we go down there and get animals that are displaced, but we go God willing, the creek don't rise. We go pre-storm if we time it right. And then we do tornado. Thank God we haven't had wildfire, flood. And then we do a lot of man-made disaster response. Man-made disasters would be puppy mill bust, where you have, 50, 60, 70, 150 animals and puppies on one scene, or a big hoarding case with felines or puppies or dogs. And that would require our entire veterinary team, a big EMA unit. It's just a really big deal because most law enforcement, wherever we end up, just don't have the cash or human resources to respond to a scene like that. So that unit is now housed out of a warehouse off West Park Circle. And then we also run the City of Jasper impoundment facility. And our hospital is located in Hoover, right on hard to explain, but it's right off of Princeton Way. But I don't know if anybody knows exactly where that is. But you know all that stuff with Edgar's, and they're building all that stuff in the city of Hoover, right across the street. And Revere Electric just built a big warehouse across from us. He's probably have his own foundation, but that's where our hospital critical care spectator clinic is, and that is also where the externship program for Auburn University Vet School and Tuskegee Vet School students, fourth-year vet students, they all come there to get soft tissue, surgical tissue training. And then this past year, we are now part of the core curriculum of Auburn University Vet School, so it's operating out of that building. So we've got like 4 locations that we're running the entire organization out of. Luckily, we have bought a big piece of land right off of Lakeshore. You may have seen it in the news. It's right, if you turn right, go down Lakeshore toward like Dollar General, toward the new Publix. There's a lake on the right down from the entrance to Red Mountain Park. Jefferson County is building a new impoundment facility, thank the Lord. And we're building a new hospital and a new adoption and placement center there. It's about a $77 million project. We hope it will start. Hopefully shovels, if everything goes according to Hoyle, would be in the ground maybe January or February of 24. And if things go well, 18 to 24 months to get it built. But once we get that built, we'll be co-located, so we won't have to have all these animals moving from building to building in all of these vehicles, because right now we have to run so many vehicles just to get all of our animals from location to location, just to get them spayed and neutered or treated, etc. So there, you kind of get an overview of the organization. It's about a $6.3 million annual budget, about 70 employees full-time. We have our veterinary staff, our chief medical officer, licensed veterinary technicians, surgical technicians, licensed veterinary technicians at every site. We just about have to because we have clinical operations at every site, but all the surgical stuff happens at Hoover. So having one co-located place is going to be awesome. Now, unfortunately, we're the 10th largest shelter in the United States. So that puts us right in that same family of the presidents of large shelters. That would be like Denver, Chicago, Atlanta, San Diego. We're huge. And our intake is going up. Unfortunately, right now it's increasing way up to way before pre-COVID levels. So we're starting to see our numbers go back to 2017, 2018 intake levels, which we do not want to see. This is all canine. We started a trap, neuter, vaccinate and return program for felines in July of 2018, and the feline intake has gone down by almost 75% as a result of that program, which blows my mind. Ivana Sullivan's here on the front row. She's our chief program officer. If you had told me 9 years ago that people would be coming into the shelter to adopt a cat or kitten and we wouldn't have one, I would have thought you were crazy. But we don't have enough cats and kittens for demand. What we do have is a problem with canines and puppies. So I would say census today, if we had to guess overall locations, would you say, shoot, 900, 930 something, close to 1,000? So today's census is probably about 1,000 animals. We were approaching a live release rate in the 80s, the 83%, 85%, which was awesome for a pole shelter, for a large urban shelter. But then we got hit last summer with a distemper outbreak, which you guys may remember because a lot of the boarding facilities in Birmingham had to close down, doggy daycares had to close down, and we also got hit with a canine influenza outbreak. It resulted in almost 22 weeks of very restricted intake. We worked with the University of Florida. There were about 9 shelters all the way up to South Carolina that were significantly impacted that ran impoundment facilities. And we went out into the community, offered free distemper vaccinations, did everything we could to try to get animals vaccinated. But at the end of the day, we've just got too many dogs running loose. And if they get bit by wildlife, or if they get these diseases, they're easily transmittable. Before y'all start asking me questions, after Mr. Scott's death a few weeks ago, which was a tragic death in McDonald Chapel, it happened early in the morning, which is consistent with when we see the packs, the most aggressive behavior of a pack of canines. It'll usually be early in the morning, or it'll be right at dusk. And he was walking, and unfortunately, he was mauled to death. We also had a pretty bad mauling of a woman in Carbon Hill. And we had a close call twice in Norwood, really close call with 2 residents in Norwood, and one of which was the county attorney's, a relative of the county attorney's. Very fortunate that she survived that. So what we have done since Mr. Scott's death is try to educate the public about what not to do when you're out walking if you're in an area that has a lot of stray dogs. Some people seem to think a gun is a really great idea. Unless you're like Keanu Reeves in like The Matrix with the way you shoot, it would not be a good idea to try to shoot 6, 7, or 8 dogs with a gun. You are better to walk with some sort of like a stick, a cane, or some sort of walking stick, something that you can put between you and the animal, and carry spray, some sort of pepper spray. They sell a spray at PetSmart or Petco. That would be better, but you got to know how to use it, how to spray that cloud. Stay still. Don't scream. Don't walk with food. Do not carry food with you. Do not feed stray dogs. Call animal control. If you see people feeding them, let us know, because the dogs in McDonald Chapel had been fed a lot, and that area was a high feeding area. So we can tell on our maps when we have a high feeding area, stray dogs will do what they do. They will all start coming in to that area, and we can tell because then they won't get in the traps anymore. So if you see people feeding stray dogs, we really do want you to let us know, or let the city, whatever city and jurisdiction you're in, know, so that we can set traps and we can try to capture them. If they're fed, they're not going to go in the trap. But with all that said, I want to make sure we have time for questions, because we've had a ton of questions at GBHS, a ton of questions about chained animals, about the packs of dogs, all these issues, and I'm happy to answer them. I'm shocked. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, I can't believe it. The first audience that hasn't asked me questions.
What can we do? What can we do? And especially with that example of Norwood. Did anybody know there was, and I walk over that area and walk around, so, you know, it's everywhere. It's not just out in the rural.
So Birmingham passed a really good tethering ordinance in July of 2020. And we brought a copy of it for you guys over here. But it's not being enforced. We've talked to Chief Thurman, we've talked to Sheriff Petway, we've talked, because when you've got animals chained up, especially dogs, let's just say, when you got dogs chained up, the dog stays chained, that's the dog that's going to become usually the least social and the most aggressive. And if it breaks the tether, that's a problem. We've offered to be the officers that would enforce the Tethering Act, because it's our understanding that one of the reasons they can't enforce it is because they don't want police officers doing that. I don't blame them. If there's not enough police officers, the last thing I want a police officer doing is responding to a chained up dog versus an assault or burglary. I can't answer why the animal control officers in the city of Birmingham are not allowed to enforce it or to leave a citation, but they tell us that they're not allowed to do that. We have got to start issuing citations for people that chain their animals up. Our dispatchers probably take 100 calls a week. What do you think? Easy. Of Birmingham residents that are angry that GBHS is not coming out and doing something about a neighbor's tethered dog, but we don't have the jurisdictional ability to go out there and do anything about it. Our social media page is constantly bombarded about it. People do not understand why it's not being enforced. So that's one issue. Montgomery just passed, the City Council of Montgomery just passed a required microchip. I think that was really smart. I was shocked to see it a few weeks ago. Because what that enables animal control to do is it enables us to start really being able to tell where these animals are coming from. It also enables us to get the dog back to you without impounding it. Because we would love to just return it to you in the field and not have to bring it into the impoundment facility. An issue we have right now at Woodlawn is there has been such an increase in impoundment that you get to a point where there's 2 and 3 dogs that the animal control officers are having to put in a kennel. But the insurance policy that covers the impoundment facility or any major urban impoundment facility, that becomes a risk to the staff, because you have to take the dog out to feed it and water it. If you're trying to take 3 dogs or 2 dogs out of that kennel to feed and water it and something goes wrong, it could really cause a liability for us, for the county. So we're getting to the point where we're going to have to turn officers away, and that really concerns me. There's just not enough kennel space for the animals that are coming in. And to give you an idea of how bad it is, in the last, I would say, 5 weeks, we've seen a 38% increase in the city of Birmingham dogs, and probably a 27% increase, I think, in the city of Bessemer dogs. I mean, it is really, and I think a lot of it has to do with the reaction to Mr. Scott's death. People are afraid. So they're calling and they want something done about it. I'm going to be doing a story, I think, with Sarah Burser. She wants to go on a ride with me to places where we have large concentrations of packs of dogs in the city of Birmingham, Bessemer, Tarrant. She wants to see it for herself. When I say packs of dogs, I want y'all to understand, we're talking 30 to 50. We're not talking like 5 or 6. We're talking like a lot. We need to do either licensing or we need to do microchipping, but there's got to be something done to get the number of dogs that we're having to pick up in the cities handled, because we can't afford it. It's bad for the animals and it's bad for the taxpayer, and there's a better way to do it, a more humane way, and for a progressive city to address this problem. But what makes me sick is this is just really, really expensive. It's incredibly expensive. And you've got individuals. I think we work 24/7. I work all day and most every night with mostly women over the age of 50, mostly women of color that call me that cannot get to their car or cannot get in their house because a neighbor will not contain a dog that they're afraid of or that has bitten them. I just seem like I do this every day of my life, trying to get them help or advocate for them because they cannot safely enjoy their yard or get to their car. And so I'm either on the phone with the police or the sheriff, or I'm personally going there myself. So I tell y'all, it's a big problem. It's a really, really big problem, and we need to solve it.
Question, out of the $6 million annual budget, how much of that is taxpayer supported?
The contract for the animal care and control budget part without Jasper's probably about I'm gonna say 1.1, 1.2, probably coming in that part. I don't know. I can tell you what y'all's is because we have to send the whole bill to the county. But I could break out, I can tell you what the city of Birmingham's portion pro rata share is about. Of course, you guys have your own ACOs, so all I'm gonna be giving you is that impoundment amount.
Right.
But it's probably about 1.2, don't you think? 1.2, 1.3. The budget, you're like, I mean, I'd say that's close, and it's gonna fluctuate. Like when when the state vet shut down intake for that 20 weeks, that budget's gonna go way down because you're only allowed to bring in, whenever you see animal control go to priority 1 intake, just so y'all know this, when you hear a priority 1 intake order, it means we can only receive animals that have been severely injured, law enforcement seizures, or animals that we've had to seize because law enforcement backup. We can't just take a healthy stray, and we had to do that several times last year because of the disease outbreaks, because we didn't want you guys as healthy animals coming in there and getting distemper and just making the problem worse. So that made the budget unnaturally probably go down because you didn't have the intake, and it was extended, I want to say 20 weeks that Dr. Crawford out of Florida recommended that intake shut down. So a normal year, but I could give you some figures going back, but it's going to just keep getting more expensive the rate it's going. So, I think licensing, microchipping would work. It's not an easy solution. We've studied it now for a couple of years. I mean, but it would at least require citizens, if they're not going to spay and neuter their dog, to pay a fee to the city of Birmingham, because by them not doing that and not containing the dog and letting the dog run loose, their decision not to spay and neuter it becomes your expense, and that doesn't seem very fair. You know, I get the whole I want to do what I want to do with my dog. I get it, but when you're letting your dog run free and impregnate everybody else's strays, and then you're having to pay for it out of your tax dollars, that doesn't really seem fair. So, and we've got a problem with breeders in the city of Birmingham and Doswell, big time, and so that's also an issue. But I think licensing could solve it. All right, so you good?
Yeah, that was a lot of great information. I had no idea about Norwood, or because you think, well, we should speak up. I mean, that's really such a huge impact on all.
Okay, well, thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, next up is going to be, I think, a lot of questions for Michael. So I'm going to bring Shonda Temple and Allison Lumpkin up and let them speak about the Block to Block, the new program. So we may go a few minutes over, but we've got some great information, so I say it's worth it. So good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Alicia Lumpkin, and I serve as the Director of Process Improvement for the City of Birmingham. And this is Ms. Shonda Temple. She serves as one of our amazing senior project manager for the Mayor's Office. And so over the last couple of years, Shonda and I have worked on several initiatives, an effort to help improve the city's landscape. As you know, we have some serious issues with litter. And so we are piloting a program, and I'm saying pilot because it's not widespread and it does not need to go beyond these walls here tonight, because we're going to ask you all to participate with us to see if this initiative will work. So the name of this initiative is called My Block Birmingham. And it's really an engagement, a civic engagement initiative meant to encourage, empower, and to be able to help beautify our neighborhoods. And so what it is we're encouraging and asking people to adopt a block. It's similar to the Adopt a Block program, but our version is My Block Birmingham. And so we're asking neighborhoods and residents and organizations and churches to be able to come aboard and say, hey,
we're going to take ownership of this particular area, and we're going to make sure that it's clean. There are some specifications around the program, like we're asking that you all do a cleanup twice a month, and that the biggest part that we think will hopefully catch like wildfire and spread is the fact that we have an online mapping system that we're going to encourage people to sign up. And then our goal is to be able to hit a certain number of what we like to call gold dots. And so it's a heat map. And so the goal is to encourage people to sign up, adopt blocks, and then closer to the end, we'll be able to look at this beautiful map with all of our streets that have been adopted or our blocks that have been adopted in the city of Birmingham. We know that this isn't the one solution that's going to solve all of our issues. There are tons of issues with a lot of the things with trash and bulk trash and things like that going on. But we believe in conjunction with some of the other things that we hope to do, that this will be a great start for us to help encourage and empower our residents, not only to participate, but to help us. There are some times we need some assistance with our DPW teams, run short, staffing, trucks. And so being able to partner with our neighborhoods and our communities would be a really, really big way for us to make a big difference in this short period of time. And so tonight we have a couple of things. I'm not able to bring up the website because you all have your nice Zoom page going on here, but we do have a website and we want to encourage you all. Yes. Awesome. So, yay. And so what's going to happen once you do sign up, within a day or two, our team is going to begin updating the map. And what that does for us, it allows us to be able to collect your information. And then if you are having cleanup days or if there's some things that we can highlight, we'll be happy to do so, but we'll have direct beeline to you and say, hey, how's it going on your area? What do you need? Because this is a pilot program for our team, it's an opportunity for you all to tell us what we can improve and tweak before we do roll it out to the larger population. And so we're really, really excited to share this initiative with you all, and we really do hope that it works. I'm going to pass the mic to Shonda to see if she has anything to share.
So this is really simple. It's my block. So within that block, when you step out of your front door, if you see litter on the sidewalk, in a gutter, just simply, if you have a pickup stick, just simply pick it up, put it in a trash bag, and you're done. We're just encouraging people to, that one little effort can make a huge change. We already have Don and Mr. Forsaw, they've signed up. So they've adopted several blocks. So you can adopt one block or several blocks. And it's not a massive cleanup. We're just asking you to do it twice a month. If you want to do it more, that's fine. If you want to, just like working out, there's strength in numbers. So I know a lot of times if I lean on a partner to walk with me or work out with me, go to the gym, I'm more likely to do that than do it by myself. But it's really simple. But again, like Alicia said, we welcome your feedback. So there is an email address on there. So if you have any input that you would like to give us, your feelings, feel free to share because we are open. We definitely want to see Birmingham be cleaner, and we know that we can do this. And this is another just initiative that we want to share with you. And one final thing is if you have any questions, I will stay after the meeting. And if you want to walk up to me and tell me your thoughts, or if you want to sign up or you're interested, I'm here. Okay. Can you share the address or location again? Okay.
We put a lot on our dumpster to combat that. Is it your dumpster or somebody else?
I can tell you this, y'all know how bad it is. Rhonda tried to help me through the process of trying to find out about the dumpster permit. Basically, it's kind of a different department. So we're hoping, I mean, I think that, because at the last meeting, we had a request for wipes about all the trash, the alley being blocked and all that. And we've got Dawn, myself, was the biggest, I mean, there were several people involved. What we found out, there were 2 dumpsters left over, a grease pit left over from restaurants, people that never been picked up. But the one thing Watts Towers did do when it was all said and done, everything was moved, they went down to the sun, bolted to their dumpster. And I said, I think the city council, I'm gonna come down, this is something that should be required. You're not going to enforce the dumpster permit, which I think is ridiculous, because everybody gets one, anybody that wants one can have one. The other thing is the dumpsters, it should be, the company should be required. If I'm bringing you out a dumpster for your restaurant, there's gonna be a sign on it that says who it belongs to and a contact number. That is only fair to people that live downtown and have it, and to the other businesses. That is something really that I say the city council, we're not going to like enforce them having to have a permit. When a dumpster comes up, and you can make the companies aware, if there's not a sign that is mounted on that dumpster, who it belongs to and a contact number, it's going to be full. It's going to be forced to be moved. That's the only way. And out of all the complaints about the trash, it is the dumpsters and the businesses and people not getting it. And if the apartment, one of the HOAs have the dumpster overrunning, they should be mandated. You have to get that empty more often. Because I'm sure that's the biggest, I know that's one of the biggest complaints, Daryl gets the biggest complaint that I've had, is people call me about the dumpsters, and I know, I've been there, have I not? That's how we got to know each other, was trying to figure out about the dumpster ordinance. But these are easy fixes, so. Need to.
Yeah, what does the ordinance say about who's required to have one? Like, you know, FedEx doesn't have one, so we go through, they put stuff in our dumpster, which means that it fills up. We're already got the biggest dumpster we can have. Or they, you know, sometimes they put on 20th Street, they don't tie it up, the peanuts flow everywhere. So same thing with some of the restaurants and bars that don't have them, so they just sit it out and, or use someone else's dumpster, which then they are required.
I don't think there's an ordinance to require businesses to have dumpsters. I guess, I don't really know this restaurant.
That's right.
But there is an ordinance that they are supposed to have a license, a permit to get a dumpster. That is not enforced. There was a group, there was a department, and it's kind of just fell to the wayside. So that's another, you know, the city is not following up on this.
So am I hearing correctly that businesses can just put their garbage in a bag?
Yes. Yes.
But citizens are required to have their garbage won't be picked up.
That's correct.
It's not in that.
Yes.
Specialty.
And that's why when you walk by some of the restaurants, the sidewalks are nasty, grease stained. We have the rats out there.
Well, I was told, I think, and I may have the numbers wrong, like our building, we have 21 units. So we're required to have a dumpster. But if we only had 19 units, we could just set our garbage on the street. No. So more than 10. Okay. I was told it was 19, but there needs to be some sort of uniformity, it would seem to.
Well, a smaller thing in the dumpster. Okay, every morning when I walk back in the park on First Street, on the overpass, there's lots of garbage. There's no garbage bin. I would pick up that garbage and put it in something if there was a garbage can. We need garbage cans on those things.
What's the address?
21st
Street and what?
21st Street between First Avenue North and First Avenue South. The bridge.
The one that's closed.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any on 22nd either.
They're gonna stay if y'all wanna ask any more questions afterwards. I wanna say thank you so much for the program that y'all started. Dawn, thanks for sending them to me today. Thank you.
And so just to kind of get started, we do have just a little token, a couple bags. So if you want to take some with you, please, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Let us have some things.
I think I've got, okay, y'all, I'm gonna, have Michael come up and then we'll follow up with Daryl O'Quinn. Michael I've been probably blowing his email up all of the last 2 weeks because of the questions. I do want to say, when y'all send me an email or you send me a question, I immediately start working on it because I do want to have the answers. And I do want us to be able, like tonight, I know we're going over, but I think we've got some really, really great information for the neighborhoods. And so Michael's going to talk to us about flowers, a lot of different things. So
I'm glad we've talked about dumpsters before I got here. Because I know that's a big issue, and I've been trying to figure out this whole gamut on it as well. So I appreciate you taking that. So for y'all who don't know me, my name is Michael Sims. I'm the City Center District Manager with Rev Birmingham. So for any of you who are familiar with a gentleman named Rob Butto, I've been introducing myself as the new Rob for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And now I will introduce myself as Michael for the rest of you. And I know a handful of y'all are in the City Center District, so you get service by cap, you have an assessment. So I'm kind of the overhead, I guess, for that for Rev. So for those of you who are in that, hello. For those of you who aren't, I know that it's still a relationship. If you send stuff to Donna and she reaches out to me, I still intend to do my best to help out. And the tree for one thing and a couple things, because as I'm learning, I've been here, I think, for 4 or 5 weeks now. I've been learning about the trees, things like that. I have people who are asking for those within the bid. And so solving problems outside of it only helps solve them for me. So I'm basically, if there's a meeting going on in the city or around Birmingham, I'm trying to get myself into it because I'm just kind of a sponge right now, trying to learn about everything. But in particular, I do want to say on this on the sheet, it says michael@revbirmingham.com. It's .org. So if you would like to contact me, feel free to change that, just so everyone knows you're welcome to get in touch with me at any time. So real kind of particularly, I know some things we're talking about the 20th Street refresh and what that's going to look like as we're coming up in the springtime. And so I do have some updates on that. First off, we are going through an RFP process. So we are talking with the current company and then also figuring out what we want to add to what we learned from last year. Apparently, again, as a new person, if you have questions for me, send them on. I feel like the police officer, like, hey, I'll learn it and I'll figure it out where to get it to. So feel free to ask a question. But we went from a construction year to now to a maintenance year. And that RFP is going to look a lot different for us. So we know some of the things they've learned, how to write that up, how to add some additional details to it. So we really do go, just that service goes extra, because we know that we really need to kind of raise the standard on that. And we only want to do that every year. So we're learning on that. So we're currently going through an RFP process. Theirs runs through the end of May. So starting April 1st, starting June 1st, we will have either this current company or a new company. So we have about a month and a half to really kind of put all that together. But for the immediate changes you will see, have my list. So the crepe myrtles and camellias at the end of the blocks are being replaced. So those are kind of the big, they're the showy ones on the corners, and there's the densest population of foot traffic there. We want to make sure those look good. I know one of our next requests for the next bid will have the beds there a little more dense as well, so they do look good on the corners. And so when people are walking there and crossing 20th Street and kind of going up and down, those are some really nice looking places. You'll notice the hanging baskets. I think they went out yesterday. So if you haven't been down 20th yet, I drove it on the way here just to make sure I wasn't lying. Those things went out. Those are from the city, so we appreciate the city for pulling those together. They look really nice. And so those are already hanging out there. We'll also have a color refresh, which for color refresh is basically new flowers in the beds. So we have those coming out here at the beginning of May. So in the next couple of weeks, you'll see those out there. As if anyone else who was planning stuff, we got hit really hard with the deep freeze. And so that's been delayed by a couple of weeks as if they're growing. So we do have that coming out. So we're picking out the pallets right now. Not me. That is not my background. You do not want me to go out there and do that. My mother would, but not me. So we have some folks at the city, along with some folks at Rev and the current landscape workshops who are working on the palette for that. Pretty cool process. I'm learning on that one too. Just pick some colors. We got that going. And then you'll see that mulching should come out saying end of April. So take that for all you will. We have a couple weeks, maybe a week and a half, but we'll have new mulch coming out first, obviously. I know a couple of us were out there weeding before Easter. We noticed it was not a great look out there, especially if you're inviting your families coming down. So we threw some gloves on. We were out there weeding for some stuff. So that, again, as we're creating this new RFP, we know verbiage is going to be a lot easier to put in there, but we know, hey, these are checklists that you have to have, not just keep the beds clean. It's going to be every Friday, let us know what you have done so we can keep tabs on everyone. So that's just for y'all to know that we're kind of raising the standard for the 20th Street, but you'll see some new stuff coming out in the next week and a half. So that's exciting for it. Any questions on 20th Street? For anything else?
Michael, who's supposed to be doing the doggy food bags?
That's Cap with us, and we have those in the.
They're consistently out. Like I said, I don't mind. I'll be glad to do it if y'all can't do it, but I don't even have a dog, but it's just.
Absolutely agree. No, I noticed those the other day as well.
The only time you see them is right here close to the park, and I think it's just most people don't come that far, but they're just consistently out.
I've got to go through the inventory over the Cap office and make sure that we have those in there. I know they do so we will do the black canisters along 20th Street and the dog bags as well. So put that down. We'll get those out there this week.
Okay, thank you.
I agree.
Well, that's why, again, I don't have a dog, but I was thinking if we had the bags, maybe that would help with some of the food seen around.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I actually was told that he was incarcerated at the moment and no one was there to bail him out. So if we're seeing fresh versions of that, then he may have gotten back out. That's coming from some Cap ambassadors and the director of that as well, saying that's what they had heard, that he had been picked up. Obviously, we know if you see that, if it's within the bid, you let us know and we'll take that out there immediately. That's something that I love the block, my block type thing. And I would look like we have a heat map that we look at with our system with Cap, and we can see where the cleanups have happened, but we wish we had something that showed us that they were there. So we have to wait and rely on either one of us walking around, one of y'all calling. If I could create like ways for Cap and you could just like say, oops, found it, like there's an officer there or there's a wreck, that would be amazing. So if anyone's in the app tech world, just come talk to me afterwards. But we do need to rely on y'all to let us know. We will send somebody out immediately and get that clean because we can see where we're cleaning them and we're noticing that where we're cleaning them are in the most high foot traffic areas. That's because that's where everyone is. So you're seeing it when you're there. So that means there's spots in between that clearly probably have graffiti, but they're not being recorded as quite as often. Right. I think it depends on the situation for it. I mean, personally, I hate seeing different shades of white everywhere or different colors on that. I know their first go-to is a spray. And some of those who are on like electrical outlets or stuff like that, you can spray it on there and it goes really quickly. When it does go on brick and things like that, that's something that will, I'll take it back, I'll ask. That's something I will ask about. We actually had a meeting about that this morning, not with them, but internally, because this whole idea kind of popped up together, trying to get a more of a community involvement for it, and giving y'all easier access to getting in touch with CAP. I know that their system, so we abide by their system, which is called Smart Systems. It's smart for us. It's not great. It's not smart for all of y'all to get in touch with it. So that's for us internally, where if they go and they clean some graffiti, or if they pick up a tent that we're talking about on 18th Street. If they move that, then they document that so they know that it's off the system. But it's not something that the public can go in and say, hey, I found this here, and then we can alert that. So we're kind of seeing it after the effect. So the 311 is great. I don't know for someone we're talking about it, and I'm getting used to it as well. And I love the 311 system for it. So everyone download the app. And there's a video that I'll be sending you. It's a kind of how-to on YouTube for 311, and some documents about how to sign up for it.
Y'all have a calendar of events that y'all plan?
Not yet. I know we've talked, there's nothing currently going on that we can say this is happening, other than I know the Art Walk coming up, and that's outside of us, so that's on 20th. We want to do activations on 20th. I know what you will see right now to clean that up a little bit. CAP, we did this morning, I think we got it completed, a pressure washing truck to go through and start doing some pressure washing, working with the city, with them on that to help with their options for it, and cleaning up some areas. So I think that will be the first maybe noticeable physical change in there. And then we do want to activate, obviously, on 20th Street. I mean, that's a huge, it's our front.
If we're talking about having events to bring people.
Correct. And that's kind of on me. So I'm learning what do we want? And hopefully you'll start hearing a lot more community engagement coming from my end of what would you like to see. That's an email to me. Hey, you'd love to see a market, version of a Kavazar or a food type event, or I don't know, sprint relays down 20th Street. What would you like to see? Just let me know, and that's something that we can look at and see if that's in a 20th Street type budget, or if it's something that we're to see.
So it's just this main busy.
So the reason 20th Street's in there is because it's been in the bid. So that's where Rev oversees the bid part. 2nd Avenue, once you pass 22nd Street right there, is in the bid. So that's something that we would love to extend it that way. If everyone is willing to pay the assessment, bring it on. It would be a separate for us. It would end up being a separate contract. So we're contracting with the city to do 20th Street because that's within our bid in that one. So if that was be a separate type contract for 22nd, for 2nd Avenue, that'd be fun because I'm on 2nd Avenue all the time. So if you see me walking around, I'll go downtown, I'll play around downtown. So I'm always in my own bid.
No, I'm gonna grab you if I see you walking out, not that. I want to say thank you, and I'm so sorry that we're going over, but I can't believe all this great information we've got. So Michael's gonna be here if y'all want to ask any questions.
Say one last thing. So if you have like HOAs or anything like that, or if you want me to come out, you work downtown, have businesses, I'm in the market of getting to know everybody to kind of go ahead and give you relationships. So everyone knows that they can come to us. So sorry to take your time, but feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to do any of that.
I'll keep it real quick. So if you haven't already,
if you want to get a rundown of everything that we know about coming out of our office, you can sign up through our website. It's bmd5.com. You can go on there and sign up for our newsletter. And my team, Maisha Hutchinson and Kim Phillips, compile, everything that we are made aware of through our office and send out regular notifications. You guys covered a lot of territory tonight. The whole trash situation for the entire city of Birmingham drives me crazy. But we are making some significant progress in how we handle trash. But downtown is another animal altogether. It's the only part of the city that gets daily trash collection. It along with 5 Points South, allows business owners to put trash out on the curb. And, the city of Birmingham just comes by and picks it up. I think that personally, that is absurd to me. I feel like, if you want daily trash collection, then you ought to pay for it. Anyway, big pet peeve for me. But anyways, focusing on the positive, it's not really Central City, but do want to let you guys know that the city applied for a HUD Choice Neighborhoods grant. And this is a special program that's available through HUD to take public housing projects and do something along the lines of what we have seen at Loveman's Village and now at Southtown, which had the first buildings broken ground on last week. So we applied for the Smithfield community, Smithfield Court specifically on 8th Avenue in Smithfield. And I found out earlier this week that the city made the cut for the finalists. So we're in a pool of about 8 cities nationally that are competing for one of 5 or 6 awards, which the odds are really good that we'll actually get selected. And what that means is that it'll be in the ballpark of $50 million from HUD. And as part of our organizing to apply for that grant, we have secured commitments from lots of other partners that are going to come in alongside and make investments that, some cumulatively will be somewhere in the ballpark of $150, $200 million for that area of town. So I actually represent that part of town on the city council. So I'm super excited that we have that possibility. The city is going to go forward with making investments in Smithfield regardless, but just the possibility of that part of town being transformed is a big deal. Along that same lines, the city council, in light of Fair Housing Month, the city council has created a housing policy committee that will, amongst other things, take on the task of working with city staff to address the homelessness issue. As officer stated earlier, keeping the folks who are unhoused, moving along is not really a priority, as evidenced by observation. And part of the issue also is that they don't have anywhere to send them other than one of the emergency shelters, which there are 2 in the city of Birmingham that are Firehouse and First Light. All of the other shelters are, have some sort of program, like Jimmy Hill, doesn't take people just right off the street. They have
an actual program that's more of a rehab program. In any case, the city created the Home for All program, and we're trying to have designated places that will be managed full-time, 24/7 with programming by third-party entities. So know that we're trying to address that issue in a real way. I would be very happy to work with you all in Greater Birmingham Humane Society on a microchip ordinance or a pet licensing ordinance. In a former life, I actually did graduate from LSU Veterinary School. I have spayed and neutered many animals, including primates. I also see it in the city's budget in terms of what it costs taxpayers to deal with the issue of stray animals. Same goes for the dumpster deal. I said, like I said, it drives me crazy. And I think that's all I've got, unless you have a question. Yes, sir.
That's not. Two times.
24th? Do you mean 22nd Street? Yes. Yeah. So 21st is the oldest bridge. I think it's 115 years old, and 22nd is 113 years old, I think. And there is a big difference between the two. So the 22nd Street Bridge was actually constructed more robustly because it was designed to accommodate streetcars. So I've spoken with our Department of Transportation folks. We actually have a bridge inspector, as part of that team that, has the task of making those assessments. And what I've been, the feedback that I've been given is they're not unconcerned about 22nd Street, but less concerned because it is just more heavy duty bridge. Yeah. Right. Also, before I forget, I do have almost literally a truck full of those litter grabber sticks. If you guys want some, I've got like maybe 100. So you're welcome to. I've been wanting to get them out of the Tahoe for a long time, so I'll stick around.
Is there anybody else here that's? I got all covered.
Okay, we got a lot of information, and though we've gone over, but I think it was valuable information that we can use. And so, Cheryl Quinn, we're going to count on you to go forward about this, the ordinance and things about the dog, and let us know what the animals, what we can do. And also, my biggest thing is counting on you to go in about mandating. If the dumpster company is going to get serviced out of Birmingham, they need to put a sign on the dumpster who it belongs to and a contact number. It would change volumes of the phone calls that you get, really, if we could just do something about that. And I know, like, because we do live downtown, we're kind of like you said, I know it doesn't affect Central City. I was fortunate enough, I got invited to one of the neighborhood presidents meetings this past week, and Progressive, that's built with 70-something homes, they said, we wanted to, and it's lovely, and what they're doing is amazing. We knew we couldn't do anything for Central City. So you know what I told them? I said, the thing you can do for Central City is to study a pilot program in a big city that has been able to get their trash under control. Yes, you can't build homes for the people here, but you can change all of our daily living to help us get rid of this trash and rat issue. So I'm going to hopefully have a meeting with one of the ladies that was in charge and put that forward. I mean, that's how we could service Central City as the number one tackle the trash. So, has anybody got any questions, anything before we go? But please don't. No, I'm just kidding. I want to say thank you for everybody that's come. We're growing in numbers, and that's important to help our neighborhood stay where we get to continue to have our meetings and things. So at this time, if somebody would like to make a motion to close, and second.
Motion to close?
Thank you. Thank y'all so much, and thank you, library staff, for hanging tight, and I'm sorry that we went over. I hope y'all got some good information too.
So Bob, I can send address for tree.
Yes, yes. Let me see if I've got some cards.